Welcome to 2017 Kool Kids Training College School-Based Traineeships Program webinar. The agenda for the next 15 minutes is a little bit about us, Kool Kids Training College, about our school-based traineeship program, career pathways, the application process, and then what to expect and what's next. Here's a screenshot of our team standing in front of our Southeast Queensland headquarters in Southport. And up the top right-hand side, you'll see our core values of professionalism, quality, team, trust, and wow. And these are very important core values that we live and breathe every day. And most importantly, I'll draw your attention to the wow. The wow is all about the student experience. And certainly through the school-based traineeship program, we aspire to deliver wow in every dealing we have with our school-based trainees. My name's Sam Hendry. I'm a director here at Kool Kids Training College, and I firmly believe that today's trainees are tomorrow's children's services leaders. So Kool Kids Training College, we're a Queensland-based RTO or registered training organisation, and we specialise in the Certificate 3 and Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care. We train across 5 great Queensland locations and also now in northern New South Wales. So what makes us different? Well, firstly, we specialise. We're one of the very few training colleges that just do one course or 2 courses in one field, which is early learning. And we specialise in that in regards to this program with Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care. So we don't do hospitality, tourism, fitness, barista, anything else. We just do early childhood education and care. We're also one of the very few training colleges that also walks the talk in early learning. So we run a successful group and have owned and operated a successful group of early learning centres in Southeast Queensland for the last 11 years in Kool Kids. For this program specifically, we have very high levels of contact with our students. So we're in class every week for 70 minutes. So that's a qualified trainer assessor visiting your school and running a theory-based class on the curriculum attached to Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care. We also visit you when you're doing your work placement, and that'll be 1 day a week, out into the field in an early learning centre. So you're getting the theory, and then you're getting the practical assessment, and you're getting our trainers coming through doing their coaching, training, mentoring, and obviously their on-the-job assessment of the units that you're completing through the course, but in the workplace. So we know the early learning sector, as I mentioned, having successfully operated centres in Southeast Queensland for many years, we deliver results. So we do focus on completion rates. We focus on supporting, coaching, guiding our students, and that's why we have a very strong brand reputation in this space, and that's why we do get very high completion rates comparative to the sector, the training sector. We care and are trusted by our students. Most important, we share the learning journey. We have a finite understanding of the school-based program. So we know the differences with training a 16, 17-year-old school-based student versus a mature age return-to-work mum. And our trainers are finely tuned to that awareness and giving the right levels of support, and where needed, having the right conversations with students, their parents, the schools, etc., in terms of helping support our student base through this program. So we do focus very carefully on our relationships with students, their parents, and the schools. And most importantly, we love what we do. Here's a little snapshot of some of the trainers that support the school-based traineeship program. The one common element is experience. These are trainers that have been in the sector for a very long time. They're trainers that have started their careers in many ways, like some of the students that are listening to this webinar will start theirs in an early learning centre and working their way through, in many cases, to centre managers, director level, and then progressing on to becoming a trainer and an assessor, and sharing that knowledge, that wealth of knowledge that they've picked up over many years in the centres back into the student base. So we firmly believe that our trainers are awesome. So SAT's in focus. Here's a fact from the Queensland Government Next Step report in 2008, and that is that young people who undertake an SAT were more likely to be working full-time or undertaking further education or training than young people who do not undertake an SAT. A really important statistic, you know. So This is a great program. It's a great time of your life to be starting to think about the career choices and options that you may take when leaving school. Certainly, if you're passionate about early learning and children's services, then this is a phenomenal start to that career, to be able to secure or graduate with a Certificate 3 in early childhood education and care, which is a nationally accredited qualification, the mandatory qualification you must have or must be undertaking to work in the early learning sector, and complete that whilst you're at school. So a really, really important fact, and a great initiative by governments over the years to offer school-based traineeship programs. So about the SATs, or school-based apprenticeships and traineeships, they allow students, and that should say typically in years 10, 11 and 12, because many of our students are from year 10, so year 10 in 2017, to study for their QCE, work for an employer, earn a wage and train towards a recognised vocational qualification whilst completing high school. An SAT can support a student's transition from school to work. Completed traineeships can contribute up to 8 credits for Cert 3 qualifications. The program features a trainer, a qualified trainer and assessor from Kool Kids Training College, coming into the school every week for a 70-minute class. The trainer is in close contact with students over the course of training. That's phone, email support, along with on-the-job assessment in the workplace. This relationship is focused on keeping students motivated and keeping the study momentum going. SATs are required to complete a minimum 50 days in the workplace. Ideally, that's 1 day per week, and that's how it is structured. It's disrupting the timetable. The schools are closely involved with structuring the timetable so that it works for all parties, but it does involve 1 day a week working, being paid in an early learning centre for a minimum 50 days. And our trainers obviously doing that 70-minute class, plus our trainers visiting the service or the centre, providing support and doing the assessment, which I'll talk about in just a moment. We'll send through to you a course guide with all the units, etc., but there's 18 units in the Certificate 3 qualification, and they're broken into 7 clusters: health, safety, first aid, workplace, care, play and learn, legal, culture, and sustainability. The assessment, there's 2 key elements to an assessment of a unit. There's the theory, which is assignment work. That's delivered electronically. So we load the units onto the student's laptop through a USB. So when you start the program, make sure you've got your laptop and a USB, and your trainer will load the units. You'll then work through the theory of those units, and you'll submit your assignments to your trainer. So that's the first step in an assessment, is the theory. The second step is then illustrating that theoretical understanding in the workplace, and that's through workplace assessment. And so that involves our trainer, visiting the centre and assessing our students on the theory that they've been learning in class and that they've submitted assignment work on. We want to see an illustration of that skill and that understanding in the workplace. So to get a competency, and that assessment is done according to the national standards. So to get a competency, or effectively a pass, the students need to complete the theory and have the workplace assessment done and be marked as satisfactory. Now, if there is, if that work or that assessment is not satisfactory, there is a resubmit process if the standards are not met. So your trainers will sit down with you in the first week, complete a training plan, and map out the 18 units and the timeframes and the assessment procedures, and explain that in more detail for you. Okay, so most importantly, career pathways. So where does this tuition, this learning, this qualification lead to? Well, firstly, the Certificate 3 is now the mandatory qualification you must have to work in an early learning centre. That wasn't the case up until about 4 years ago. So you must have that qualification or be undertaking that qualification to work in an early learning centre. And these are some of the roles that ultimately that qualification leads to: early childhood educator, outside school hour care assistants, playgroup supervisors, rec assistants, family daycare workers, and nannies. Just before I get on the applications, I should also point out the pathway for many of our students at an educational level is and the experience we've had is that students will do the Cert 3, go through school. They may finish, year 11 with the Cert 3, some are year 12, and then they may finish that year 12 level and then choose to go on and go to university, get a trade. Many who have completed the Cert 3 will then say, okay, now I'm ready to go and work in the sector, and they'll seek to do that. And obviously have got that qualification that enables them to get a foot in the door and to start their career as an early childhood educator. Many will also go on and do the diploma, which is a 28-unit course, and that's the CHC 50113 qualification. You can see that detailed on our website. And so there is that educational pathway. I should also say, with Kool Kids Training College, we've got an articulation with Griffith University, and having completed, for example, the diploma, there is an articulation or a pathway for credits into many courses, particularly Bachelor of Education related courses. So I would also encourage students who are completing this program to look at this as an educational pathway. Cert 3 into diploma, into Bachelor of Education, Bachelor of Children and Family Studies, those sort of courses. And we can put you in contact with Griffith University should you be interested to learn more about that also. All right, so applications, how to apply. So the applications will be taken via an application form. Given that you've registered for this webinar, you will receive that on your email if you haven't already, or you can speak with your careers or industry liaison officer at school to get a copy of that application form. Applications close on the 30th September, and students will be advised by the end of October of the status of their application. Applications, there are limited places in the 2017 SAT program, and the quality of your application is important. On the application form, you will see that there are 5 key questions. Firstly, outline 3 reasons why you want to secure a 2017 Children's Services SAT program with KKTC. Secondly, tell us what your career ambitions are. Thirdly, tell us what your expectations are. Fourthly, what do you think working in Early Learning Centre will involve? And the 5th question, what are you passionate about? And so the importance of this application, I cannot stress enough. Think it through, talk with your parents, talk with your teachers if necessary, and put together an application that really illustrates your interest, your keen interest in wanting to be an educator. I gave an example to a student the other day who had submitted an application last year, which I was reading through with my trainer, and it was a very solid application. But when we looked at what the career ambitions are or were, this student said, I want to be a photographer. So if you're thinking about doing something else, and this is just something to, that's just struck your fancy now, then, and you haven't got a really heartfelt, committed, idea of wanting to be in the education space, and in particular the early education space, then, this may not be for you. We are really looking for students who are very, very keen to progress a career in the early childhood sector. All right, so following the application review, and they close 30 September, as I said, during October, early October, we'll review them. We'll then let you know how you've gone in that application. If you're successful with it, we'll start then a 2-day trial in a centre that's unpaid, 2-day trial in a centre in November, mid-November. Now, we effectively step back from that. We give you all the direction of how to present yourself and what to expect, etc., at your trial. But really, that's the time where students, they attend the centre for 2 days, and they assessed effectively at the end of that 2 days on, did they engage with the children? Were they well presented? Did they turn up on time? Did they ask questions? Did they accept feedback? These are all important learning elements of building a career and working. So at the end of that 2 days, we asked the centres a very specific question. Would you accept this student into a traineeship program? Yes or no? So if they say yes, you're in the program. If they say no, we'll come back and give you feedback of the reasons why for that. All right, so what will a day in a centre look like? Well, you need to get ready to be creative. And the expectations and what you can look forward to is lots of fun. But it is not just about, playing with children. There's a lot of responsibility that goes with it, and there's a lot of hard work. So there is lots of play, there's lots of smiles, there's lots of fun with the children, but you also are in a busy workplace. You've got children that are, have demands. You've got parents that have demands. You have room supervisors and directors that have demands. So it is a real step up for you. For many of the people, many of the students listening to this webinar, you may already be working part-time, but to go into an early learning centre and to see what happens on a day-to-day basis, I think will be a real enlightening process for many of our students. And we see that already with the program having run for the last 4 years. So get ready for a great experience. And you can see there one of the quotes from a former student. So some questions. How much does the SAT program cost? Well, it's fully funded by the government, doesn't cost anything. So that's a great initiative, and it's really driven in particular in our sector because there is a demand for workers. There's 1.4 million children now that are in long day or early childhood care and education. And that is a growing number. And as you know, from just driving around the suburbs, there's a growing number of centres that are opening because of the demands on, two working parents or a single working parent and the responsibilities that go with that. So early learning and care for children is a growing industry. It's a priority 1 funded industry. And there is demand for workers, which is an important consideration whenever you're looking at a traineeship or a program of training, is a job outcome. So it starts, I've outlined that. The trials will start in November. The actual working will start in the first or second week back of school in February 2017. The trial I've outlined, we will aim for it to be close to home. So when you submit your application, we'll obviously get your address, and then we try and map a centre that's close-ish to your residence. Classes once a week at school and go for about 70 minutes. Applying on the form, I've outlined your responsibilities are as any employee. You're treated as an adult, albeit a young adult. We do recognise in the room, supervisors and directors do recognise you are a student, however, and are not expected to know everything. So we do encourage you to ask questions and certainly accept feedback. The employer's responsibilities are as per any employer relationship, and when you get inducted into the centre, policies and procedures in regards to occupational health and safety, how you'll be paid, code of conduct, things of that nature will be outlined for you. The support you'll get from the training college will first and foremost be via your trainer, but then secondly, if you have reason to want to talk with the college, certainly myself, college manager, you certainly can, or your parents can, or the school can at any particular time. The hours are standard hours. It's a 7.5 hour day. Generally, students start at 8:30 in the morning and get a break at lunch. Pay rates are governed by the national award, and they'll be outlined to you when we do our briefing sessions, and we do hold these for those successful applicants and those who have done the 2-day trials. We do run briefing sessions in the early part of 2017, which we expect students and their parents to attend. And if you want to cancel, well, hopefully by the time you've watched this webinar, you're thinking about it. And maybe if you were on the fence, you're now thinking, well, it might not be for me. But if you're really committed to it, then get your application in, and hopefully you won't want to cancel because you'll love it. And we do find from time to time, some students might go out and get through the application, get through the trial, and then go into the program, and then for certain circumstances, and it can be a whole raft of things, can't complete the traineeship. It is certainly a small number in percentage terms for the overall population of students. So we do really focus on making sure that before you've even started that first day of paid employment, that you're very, very clear that this is right for you. But there is a cancellation process if necessary. All right, little quote from Penny, one of our first graduates, amazing learning journey. Have a look at our testimonials on our website, read our Facebook page, look at our YouTube page. You'll see some of the videos and content from our students, which give a good insight into the operation of the college more generally, and also the school-based program. And really what we're about is forging career success, delivering employable skills. It's a hands-on training program. It's a program where, students really do learn to step up, get into the routine of work, the responsibilities of work, the joy of working with children, and the enjoyment, of successfully getting through a qualification that you can then take on into your adult life when you leave school. All right, more information, visit us at our website. Feel free to call our Southport head office. If you have any troubles with the application or anything like that, if you're in a school where we're currently running the program, our trainers are through there every week. Feel free to say hello and ask them any questions you might want. There's lots of careers expos on at the moment, and we're participating in those. So, but if you need to call me, Sam Hendry, please do at that Southport number. Look forward to getting your applications over the next few weeks, and good luck.